Auntie, are you using your phone?
No, I'm not.
Because I want to start it from my phone, then I can always assign the phone to whoever is speaking to the phone because
Yeah, it's okay. Do that. Are we set?
yes, I start. I'm starting this.
So, no, are we mic'd up? Don, are we mic'd up?
Yes.
Lift it or the station.
Yeah. So we can just okay. Excuse me. Stand. Okay.
Is this okay? Is this okay?
I've started.
Some kind of house rules we shall be following those. So the inner ones.
Are we live?
Yes, please.
Is this blue?
Balloon.
Blue.
It means blue or flourish. It's the name of my company. Oh, it's called blue. To blue. To blue. It's a German blue. That's our name for a transformation process. I have a little problem here. I'm wondering I think maybe yeah.
What's speaker?
Let's cancel the play.
Go to my account. Go to Twitter. Go to website. Okay. We need to start.
Yes.
So that is Alfred, Rachel, Dana, Sam. Okay. Yes, I'm trying to quick scan. Alfred. This is Rachel. Yeah. So you're coming first on what does it really feel like to be a man navigating mental and emotional health today? Me, I'm offline.
You can use,
Yeah.
Musa, you can really share the mic and camera.
You share yours. Share
So
yours.
when the was speaking, I can really just share and it's for you to speak.
So we are here.
So for Mr. Deo, we can start and
No, at some point I'm going to get up and I'll go over.
it's okay. Then I'll
It's
do
okay.
sharing.
Yeah, share.
Yes.
So, okay, can we start?
Yes, you can.
No. Are you set?
That's it. Yes, start and say hello to listeners and then go 5 minutes because they are those who already.
Good evening, viewers and listeners. Karibu Mtima Deo here from Karibu Mtima Company Advocates. We are going to be starting in 5. Sorry for the slight delay. As we wait for more people to join in, we request those who are on to reshare the link. We're going to be starting in 5. We'll have formal introductions, then we go straight into the session. I thank you.
What we do, you use this, so you just click and use it.
It's
You
done now?
use that. You use me, you just click on it. You just press this.
So we're going to be in the program.
When you ah.
I check.
So you click on the other, no, the other screen at the micro.
Good evening once again, viewers and listeners. Karibu Mtima Deo from Karibu Mtima Company Advocates. I welcome you. Sorry we have had a slight delay. We are going to be running in 5. We request those who are on to reshare the link and many of the people that will be joining the discussion. We'll be live in 5. Thank you for your patience. After 5, we'll introduce the panel and dive right into the discussion. I thank you.
You send this off and you very focused on your time.
So we start. And the mic's open.
Mic check. Mic testing, mic check. Mic check.
So we need someone to read that. Good. Someone just be confirming from another end whether they are on or what they can keep sending messages. You can really just give a thumbs up when you're still.
If you can hear us. You sure? Okay, I'm set. tonight we are joined by 5 distinguished panelists. We have Jasper from Wellbeing Consult. We have Sam from Wellbeing Consult. We have Diana from Blue Solutions Limited. We have Ruth, a senior human resource professional and coach. And of course our own Alfred from Karikumtima and Company Advocates. My duty here is to introduce the team, but of course, given their very big CVs, they have the discretion to continue with the introductions. Karikumtima and Company Advocates is a Christian firm. Our core duty is to serve. At the firm, we have the Department of Energy, Environment and Sustainability. We have been spearheading the sustainability agenda, where mental health falls under the social aspect. That is how a law firm gets involved in this discussion. Mental health is very pivotal in life. The men have an issue to address tonight and every day. Are the men talking? What is the issue with the men? There are so many questions. Of course, our moderator tonight, Jasper, will take us through the topic. I will not preempt that. My friend Sam was saying, no, the men are talking, but they are talking silently. I'm sure he will elaborate on that. So Jasper and to the team, thank you so much for putting this together. May the good Lord bless you and Wellbeing Consult, the lovely ladies for taking off time and outfit. To our viewers and listeners, we appreciate you. We invite you to fully participate in this discussion. We'll have a Q&A session at the end. Jasper, over to you. I thank you.
Good evening, our viewers and our listeners online. There is no way we can have this without knowing that you're in the room, and we are very excited. Already we are seeing some messages popping up that we are on air. We are very excited to be hosted by Karikumtima, and this is the Wellbeing Consult. Our focus is in workplace mental health, where we have always met men navigating various life challenges. And so we are going to have a very heart-level conversation. We want to be honest. We want to be very fair to the men, because one has always wondered that where are the men in the room? They are not talking. Where are they? And that's why we are here tonight, so that we can be able to delve into this great conversation when it comes to men and mental health. If you have been very keen in our communities today, this month of June, the world has given a focus to this man, and it has been a month that has been entirely on the mental health of the men, and that's why we're here this very evening to take advantage of this month so that we bring issues to you. I'm going to be having Alfred. Alfred will be coming in. We have Diana, we have Rachel, and I'm Jasper. We also have Sam, a well-being consultant, who is also going to be talking to us. So our topic this evening is very relatable. It's so light. Everyone is concerned. If you have not been concerned, I am very sure that you're going to get concerned after listening to different perspectives that we're going to have here this very evening. And so we are asking a great question, which you should also ask yourself. And we are saying this evening, where are our men mentally today? Where are our men mentally today? Of course, we see them at work. We see them in our homes. Some people even, they are saying they are in our homes, but they are not present. They are at work, they are not present. We meet them out there, but where are they mentally? And so we are going to be approaching this from a focus where we are looking at this man and his mental health. So in Uganda and globally, many men are silently navigating emotional distress, issues of burnout, issues of family breakdowns, issues of work-life balance, issues of financial distress. All these, I mean, the bag is so full. And I'm very sure even people that we have online, you know your bag. I know my bag, you know your bag. And also our wonderful ladies tonight, they understand what is in the bag of their friends who are men or also their spouses. And so because we are living in that society where we are not having that safe space where men can come and step up and say, wait a minute, where are things going wrong? How can we create a safe space where men and boys can come together and we say we are having a common problem? Because one thing I know is that we don't just live together in the community, but we also die together. What's hurting you is hurting your neighbor, and you're fearing even to open up, but also your neighbor is going through the same. And that's why tonight we are saying we must confront this elephant in the room, and we talk about men and mental health. I'm going to begin with Sam. Sam, my first question would be, what does it really feel like to be a man navigating mental and emotional health today? When you see this man today in the society, what does it feel like? Because you are a man, and I'm sure you also have your friends who are men. What is it that you can say when it comes to men navigating mental health issues in our communities today?
Thank you very much, our viewers and those who are listening in, and thank you, Jasper. Men, I would like to look at them as an endangered subspecies. The world has taken a lot of time to focus on the women and on the children, much to the detriment of men. Let me begin with a story, a personal story. Here is a very beautiful young lady that when she is in the community, this was a church community, every woman looks at her with envy, and every guy wishes she's the girlfriend or wife. And this young lady, on this particular day, I am moving with her from church, and I'm driving a Mitsubishi. Mitsubishi is what you drive when you don't have a car. You are walking on foot.
Wow.
I am already in the high because this young lady is my girlfriend. And I'm thinking that, well, if all goes well, I'm going to marry her. We are moving, and we have done this journey. This is not the first time that we've moved from church to walk to where we go to have a meal. We've done it before, and the journey is usually fun because we talk as we go along. I don't even think and feel the absence of the wheels, despite the fact that I'm in a church congregation that has got so many people are driving very slick cars, because I have this beautiful girl who is my own, and we're moving together. On this particular day, something is going to happen to my mental health. As we're moving, another young man comes who is a very fairly good-looking guy, better looking than me, and driving a Mercedes Benz. He stops by us and he winds down the window and he calls out to her specifically if he could give her a ride. He didn't invite me. At that time, let me tell you, all the Christian principles of love your neighbors and turn the other cheek went out of the window. I felt murderous rage within me about the fact that I was a nobody, according to him, that didn't deserve even a second glance. She was someone. And I was in trepidation as to what she's going to do. Because by all matters and consideration in the world today, any young lady who has common sense would rather go with this young man who is already well loaded and apparently successful than this one who is a struggling young man. And so I want you to just come and feel my pain as I look at him, and I cannot afford to look at him and say anything negative because I will not be a gentleman. I have been well brought up, a good Christian gentleman, so I have to look neutral, yet inside I feel like, guy, are you serious? Can you do something like this? And I'm thinking, what is she thinking now? Is she thinking I'm better off with him than him? And I wait to see what she says. Thank God she goes ahead and says, we are good to go. Please just continue on. We love the way we are moving. And that brought me down. But I wanted to bring an issue. In a world today of the corporate world where everybody is looking at a young man who has to make it, and make it pretty fast in order to be impressive, not only to himself, but to the people who are close to him, like his girlfriend, and to the parents, and to the village mates that are school dropouts, you are caught in a web where you don't know what next. What am I going to do? Now, how am I going to express the emotions that are going through me? Can I even afford to express them? Because if I burst out in anger, then probably I should say, hey, I didn't know that this guy is so hot-tempered. Am I safe? Or when I get married to him, he's going to turn me out into an abuse piece. Can I afford to just keep quiet and let it slide? Then she's like, hey, this guy cannot even fight for me. What kind of guy am I going with? Who cannot even speak up and be a man? Now that is the conundrum of a man, and a modern day man who is in the corporate world. That the world is looking at you, that you are supposed to be somebody, you're supposed to do certain things, but you're not even sure, and you don't have a lot of time to navigate to come up with the right response on which is the way to go. I don't know whether my story rings to somebody out there who has been. I am into space where I have a lot of university students, and I see the pain a lot of the young men are going through in relationships. I wanted to just bring that, and that was my personal story. Yes,
yeah, that's very exciting. You know, what he's trying to talk about, for me, I would call it men are facing what we call functional silence. Functional silence to mean that they are suffering quietly while they show up every day. I was asking my church people the other weekend, I asked the ladies, what amuses you about this man? I also turned to the men, what amuses you about this woman? And we had a fight in the room because no one seemed to understand the other party. And that's why we are here to talk about this man. And that's how the ladies also come in. Let me first go to Alfred. When you think about a man in today's society and mental health, what comes into your mind?
When I think about a man, now I want to that young man who are from university as graduated. Actually, look at the point of the pattern. A girlfriend basis, and you live first, you have left university, there's this young girl you have been looking up to, and so your first duty is to be a good partner at that point in time. You can't be a good partner when the man is not running. But if you're trying to be a good partner, there's this parent who pays for his school fees, and he is glad that you now finish school, you're supposed to support your parents and even your little brothers. Same thing that you're supposed to have to be also a good son. Now, if you end up marrying this good partner now, you're going to also be supposed to be a good in-law. So, you have now 3 duties, and then another 4 duties now you're supposed to deliver at work. So, even there, so you don't know now if you have a challenge, which person can you share your challenge with, because your parents now will be like, I don't know, they don't know supporting us. Your partner says, you need to man to show me the potential. You're at work, you need to prove a point. You're not, this is work, this is business. Even now with the good partner, is here. With the in-laws, they are saying, so that's where a young man is. So you reach a point, and when your phone rings, you just That's another issue. Before you pick up, you really call to ask, are you well or what? Whenever the phone rings, you just know, I should be another problem. Not even pick or what. You get a message and you know, this message is about money. But even that you're fighting also to pick up your life, but they're also searching from you. So you don't know where to run to. Now, I think maybe that one could be a challenge, but then there's that point where you could build up enough and you make out of school, you have some money from you. So at that point, everyone thinks you are right, you have challenges. So you can be financially even able to solve whatever challenge is coming, but now with that one, you come out as the strong person, our rich person. So whoever goes out with this and this, can do it. God has blessed you, like, I can help with that. So no one goes from that angle, that just holds you from me. Actually, you even get surprised when someone goes just to say they're like, sure, you want to help, say hello. So you wake up, where I want you to be safe, you don't know where I want you to be safe, there are challenges. Now you leave office now for the lawyers. When you go to control our things, everyone is like your enemy, your client is like, must deliver my thing. You go to court and the meeting is, this one works for me. If you're having money, let's give you some money before I get you what you want. You look at the judicial officer, you're supposed to defend like your case is putting you, it's as if it's against you. So you wake up each day to fight like 7 battles in between, and then when you go back home, there's no one going to explain to, but actually this is what I went through in between that. And the story which was explaining to me, I don't know that you remember exactly the problem. It's beautiful, and I want to mention name, but this gentleman sent money to a lady, and I had to call to ask whether the money has been received. And you could imagine that you have asked for money, I've sent it to you, but then I've called to confirm whether it has been received. Then in another scenario, you can be having your kind of money, even want to give, but you are that qualified. Going to give it to her. So you say you give it. Then you could give it to her. Actually, now when you get the courage to give it that lady, you can give it. So when you process it according to that already, the ends up not even happening that I've received. So but you are wondering, has he received, so you go to confirm. Then you go to confirm whether I'm still getting it. You even need to go to confirm such money. So much do you have done? So that's I think where young professionals have to go in that regard. That could be, that's my take. If you can get back, I will get back.
Wow. Thank you, Alfred. I hope our online team is following. Someone was asking that when you go and you meet this man and you say, how are you? Are you just trying to be polite, or you're interested in his response? What if he said, I'm not well? Then what happens? Before I bring in Deo about his experience when it comes to men and mental health, let me balance the boat. Diana, you can hear that this man who is out there, he's facing pressure to provide, pressure to meet the daily needs, pressure, but this pressure is invisible because we have been trained to act fine. We are okay. I like that tagline of roofing, strength of the nation. And that's the man that we have today. Always strong. So when you get to see this man and you know, this man is not fine. This man is not fine. There is something that is missing in this man. What are those things that you can say? And you say, but when I see this man, I feel this man, he's not fine. Because we won't tell you that I am not fine. We'll always say, we are fine, we are cool. And you begin asking us questions like, what are you thinking about? I say, it's fine, I'm okay. And we begin struggling in there. Yes, Diana.
Thank you so much, Jasper. Good evening, our listeners. My name is Diana Mhire. And just to contextualize what Jasper is speaking about, I have asked my husband those questions. Are you really okay? What are you really thinking about?
Yeah.
And probably I have contributed to this mental health issue.
Yeah.
But when we are looking at men who are in functional silence, who are being overwhelmed by burnout, by the toll on their shoulders, because naturally men are problem solvers. Men, we look up to you as women, as the society, to bring solutions to the table. And, but also culturally, we're looking at men as people who have naturally been given authority. And so there is all that toll on them. And how does this show up? I approach this from a behavioral analyst view, where the men are not going to indeed tell you that I'm not well, but they will behave in certain ways that you will actually see that this guy is not, this guy is not. So when you have the knowledge of how do certain personalities behave under pressure, how do they behave or react when they are meeting deadlines, when their sense of security has been tampered with, how is he going to react? And it will give you insights. Now, from just a personal experience, but also in my coaching world, I have met quite a number of men who seem to be in control, yet they are really dying inside. And it reminds me of my late uncle during COVID. He was really badly off. But he showed up to an online meeting. He was badly off and had this, oxygen, what do you call that? And he showed up and I was like, really, did you really have? And he said, I am the man. I must show up. Like, where is the place for vulnerability? Where is the place for saying, okay, I am unable? And I could understand him from where we have grown up from, because men have been told to be strong. Men have been told you have to be the man. And this whole school of thought of when you show weakness, when you express your emotions, how you feel, it's weakness. And that's how, it's been interpreted. That's what Alfred has been telling us, that I have all these responsibilities, but no one is even checking on me, how are you? Yet us in our space, I'm like, Ruth, how are you really? And Ruth is like, you know what, today, I am not doing well. I had in a minute, I know what Ruth is struggling with, which is different from men. But back to the personality of the behavioral point of view, some of the gentlemen, when they are really having challenges, they are going to be easily triggered. A calm man, usually very calm and peaceful, but all of a sudden, he's easily triggered. Anything you ask me, Jasper, may I find out where you put the kettle back home? Do I own the kettle? Recently our car was out of alignment, and I spoke to my friend and he was like, "You have not yet finished paying fees. What are you talking about?" And I'm like, "Wow, you are struggling." Of course, I could understand. And so sometimes, as women, we fail to understand these kinds of people. And then some others are going to really withdraw, go mute. And this is where we are asking you, gentlemen, what's up? What are you thinking about? And that is the list of the questions a man ever wants to hear when they're in that space of overload. They'll just go mute, and it's as if they don't exist. Then we have this other kind who is going to take a year to think about something. They are caught up in an analysis paralysis. They want to think and think and think, yet the solution is not forthcoming. And because when they ask for help, it's as though they have lost their power. And so it terrorizes this kind of man, saying, you know what, Alfred, what is your view about this? Because for them, they must come up with a solution. Their wiring is in such a way that
They bring, if it is not through their hands, sometimes we label them perfectionists.
Yeah.
If it's not through their hands, then it's not the right thing. And these men struggle. They
Yes.
struggle. They will not open up to you. And then we have the ones we call the life of the party. They can tell you story after story, and you're laughing, but they are just avoiding the problem.
Yes.
Under that laughter,
It's
you
an
will
escape.
even organize your party, but just because they are running away from the problem.
Yeah.
So you will see the excitement is beyond normal. The levels are higher, and you're like, this is not just fun. And by just observing, just these things. And so it's important that even as we have this conversation, we know that men are emotional beings. I never used to think men have emotions. But men actually are real emotional beings. And when they are provided a space where you can listen to them, and they know I can listen to them without her judging me, because I think most of us want to fix the men, and men don't want to be fixed. If they know that I can listen to them and I can provide that safe space, then they will slowly open up.
Yeah. Interesting insights from Diana. I hope our online, audience, you can always share your insights just in the comment section. We are going to be reading them here. Diana said something that struck me. She never used to think that men have emotions, because culture has taught men to win, has not taught men to lose. Culture has taught men to laugh, not to cry. Men to provide support, not to seek for support. Now I want to come to my, we have a people professional here who has been in the human resource, space. And I don't know what the data says when it comes to men who come to you and they say, I am not well. At home things are not fine. Sick leave, Some men have believed that these things are for ladies, Sick leave, staycation. You give me what? No. That's not for me. So what do you see from your background when it comes to men and mental health, just from your background?
Okay, thank you
Ruth,
so much.
yes, thank you.
Our viewers and listeners, my name is Ruth Ndwiga. I'm the team leader at Badili Consults. I'm also an ICF certified coach, and I'm also in the people space.
Yeah.
Very passionate about unlocking human potential.
Beautiful.
So every day I'm in the faces of our employees, business people, people wanting to make business work. These are young founders. And all these have one goal: to make money, to make a profit, to make a name. So by the fact that they're already showing up in such a space, the expectations are quite high. They've gone through the process of recruitment and selection. They have come top. They started their journey of that job or building that business. And in there, in the workplace, we have values that have to be, followed. We have policies to be followed. So depending on the culture you have in your work environment, you could find that some certain environments do not accommodate men's mental health. It's an assumption that because there's been this notion that it's a man's world, that the workplaces have always been set out to favor men. The data speaks for itself that men are earning more than women in the spaces that, even women have equally qualified. The statistics have been speaking for themselves, but is there something we are missing in this whole picture? Why are the men seeming like they are not succeeding anymore? and this cry we have for the men. What is this crisis we are looking at? Because for the longest time, work has been synonymous with men. Men were created for work. Women were created to nurture, bring forth life. And here we are with the same men who are supposed to be winning. The heroes we created in our minds,
Yeah.
the ones who provided,
Yeah.
the ones who were meant to tick all the boxes in the home. When he comes, he straightens his collar. He just needs to, and the man is at home. The typical newspaper, legs on the stool, those days are gone. We are seeing a mother who's also been hustling. Probably there's a man who left extra files on her table. And we are seeing them getting home at the same time, or even the woman getting home later than the man. So the dynamics in the workplaces have really changed. Everyone is trying to fight to get to the top.
Yep.
What we call performance management, what we call success. We have defined our society so much by, material things. You want the corner office, the big fat car, the one that guzzles more fuel, So there are even levels. Now it's not just about the big machine, it's how much fuel can you, take into that engine. And those have become the dreams we are starting with our young children, to tell them that this is what you're working hard for. So I'm trying to think this issue is systemic.
Yeah.
It's not just finding the men in the workplaces. It's coming right from society. But we, the HR professionals, are receiving these men in the workplace. Some of them are broken.
Yeah.
But work has taught them to be functional.
To be functional.
What we call functional depression.
Yeah.
So whereas we think they're excelling, they're meeting their targets, others are thinking they're thriving because they show up to work on time. Some even come earlier than everybody else. They have very good ideas. Their projects are being approved. And everything seems clear until you start noticing, they're surviving. They're struggling. And in no time, the same men who seemed like they were thriving, they are now in a crisis. Diana spoke about their mood shifts, yeah? We as HR people, it's very difficult to tell that a man is undergoing through, an emotional shift, especially when he's delivering. So my conversations with HR people is, we're going to have to increase our mental health awareness. Even the team leaders, the management team, they need to have, how we have first aid marshals? We need to have mental health marshals in the workplaces and equip the front runners to be able to do that initial mental health first aid. How can you diagnose these men? Because they're showing up as parents, they're providers, they're ticking the boxes. And sometimes their silence is mistaken for peace. Now, when you find a man having an anger burst, probably something terrible. It could even be a business deal that has gone wrong, and people will normalize it. Maybe they'll be called, you have bad temper. Next thing you know, they're on my desk. You need a disciplinary warning. Instead, these men are showing up with buried pain. But what can we do? The men are being pressured to always have the answers. And some of them are coming in with the shame of falling short right from their home. So they overcompensate also with the hours they're putting in. Sometimes that drive, that man who's performing may not just be charged to, to perform because he's a performer, but he's trying to prove himself that I can do it. He's trying to make ends meet at home. He's trying to prove to his even parents, not just his spouse and children, that I am the man. And this has led to emotional isolation for the men who feel they are not performing at optimum. And men have a deep desire as well to be seen, heard, and allowed to be human. So we, the human resource leaders, the talent managers, we can normalize these conversations around men who we can diagnose probably are in a crisis stage. You can tell how they're showing up. Maybe they may not be high, they constantly look tired, they're haggard. Some are eventually disconnecting. but those are not all.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that those who are disconnected have mental health issues. But you need now to have that first aid to know that something is going on. If it's their personality to be introverts, it should not be confused as mental health issues.
Yeah.
Some people are generally really quiet.
Yeah, true.
So it's in us as the leaders in workplaces to spend enough time with our employees so we can know that men carry the world on their hands, but who helps them carry their world?
Who helps them carry their world?
Yes. So when they come to the workplace, let's respect them first of all, because back home they're heroes. Don't shout at your workers. Yeah? Those are things also we've had escalating due to poor performance or whatever. How about we spend more time trying to understand what's the deeper underlying issues? And we can redesign also the wellness programs in the workplaces. I had conversations also, church nowadays has been geared more for women, and we go there and they're disconnection, but that's not what we're here to talk about. I'm just trying to use a society. No, it's true. You find the men are quite disengaged because of how the programs have been curated. They may not stay, 20 minutes lifting your hands in holy praise, going all emotional. But the workplaces, we can redesign our wellness programs with men in mind. Look at how we can solve problems more, include financial wellness programs or sports-oriented things that men can relate to in the workplaces. And maybe also normalize, these conversations of leaders who've gone through mental health challenges. We can normalize those conversations.
Yeah.
Instead of shaming, let's open up the platforms for men to speak up
Wow.
and be an example.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you can realize that, a man in crisis, you won't see him and you see he's broken and then you say he's struggling. He can be busy, he's performing like Council Dewo here. You can't tell. He looks wellness, right? And so from my experience, every time I go to, try to pitch for a workplace mental health program, when I meet an HR professional who is a lady, the buy-in, I always get it. It is light here for me to get. But when you meet this man who has been here for 20 years, there's one man who told me, I have served 20 years. I've been the best performer without any wellness program. So why do you tell me that my people, they need it? Right? And so you see that the issue is very serious. So before I go to another segment, Council Dewo, what do you say about men and mental health today in workplaces?
Thank you so much, Jasper. I did indicate that mental health is part of the social aspect of ESG. Mental health is actually an indicator of how organizations treat their people. When you go in there and you're looking at burnout, you're looking at employee turnover, you look at the ratings, you assess, then you're able to appreciate the what? The impact. This discussion, and no offense to my brother Sam, is often approached from an academic perspective. I thank God that we have good experts in the room, but we have so many experts who are giving false information out there. We have so many experts who are not that practical. Each profession, Alfred did allude to the legal profession. So let me, in 1 second, talk about the legal profession. Our nature of work is dealing with problems. That is what we do. These problems get to the bed. I was humbled when Jasper said, oh, you find someone like they were looking smart, and many times we put our faces. Like Ruth and Diana rightly said, society dictates so many things, including expectations. Authority. God gave authority. Did God give a user manual? I don't know. As a Christian, I'm going to say that the Bible is a what? A user manual. Now, we all say authority comes from what? From God. Then come the numerous dictates and expectations. Men should do this, men should not do that. You leave your workplace with all this pressure. Go back home and you expect to be listened to. Or walk to the street and you expect to be listened to. The question is, how do we listen? What is listening? My understanding of listening is listening deep. Are men actually listen to? But also the flip side. And this is not limited to the workplace, it also splits to the home. So that's why I'm splitting the discussion. As men, or we as men, how are we communicating? Like Diana said, you ask for a kettle, and Jasper is asking you, am I the kettle? You know what I mean? Communication is an important tool. And part of that is listening. Yes, it piles up because people are not listened to. You express yourself, try to open up, and it turns into a competition. You tell someone, I'm busy, and you're genuinely busy. I'll give you an example. I wake up every day at 5. I'm in town before 6 every day. Go to church, say my prayers, at times I leave office at 10. Now, during the course of the day, you're going to genuinely tell someone you're busy, and the person says, hey, what does that mean? I also have things to do. Suddenly, it turns into a competition of sorts. Which takes me to the last part. I want to leave this to the experts. Conflict what? Management. Now, because it builds up, before you know it, you have the wrong responses. Before you know it, there is what? Conflict. Now, what measures are we going to have to manage this conflict? At some point, we are going to talk about recommendations, so I will not preempt. But we also need to discuss that area. How do we manage this conflict? Because, like I said, it turns into a competition. If I come to you and face that, am I going to talk to you again? No. It will just keep piling up. I'm going to ask you whether I'm raped, whether I'm a car. Before you know it, no solutions. For the workplaces, especially the corporate setup, we need to go beyond the gallery. Kaching, I've taken a photo. Corporate social responsibility. I'm glad Ruth talked about training. We need to have programs like you do, Wellbeing Consult. You have had so many numerous sessions. But are people taking this discussion seriously? Like you said, the ladies are very welcoming. But I think you're meeting the wrong name. Mental health is a priority and it needs to be taken seriously. We can start the discussion in the workplaces. Before you know it, we'll go to the churches, we'll go into society, and we are going to cause change. We need to start somewhere.
Yeah. Wow. Let's flip to the other side of the coin. One wonders, I've not been trained as a therapist. I'm not a trained counselor. There is no way I'm going to see my man that the mental health battery of my man, of my son, of my friend is draining because we don't really know. We always wait when it is too late and things are breaking loose. So when do I know? How do I know?
Thank you very much, Jasper. It's one of the biggest challenges we have is that we are now firefighting. And this conversation to everyone who is listening and watching needs to begin a little bit earlier. Right from infancy, the boy child is taught to be strong and trained and mentored not to show emotions. The girl child is trained differently. When the little girl is playing and the dad says, you will fall down, stop playing from there, and she definitely falls down and skins her knees, Dad will rush quickly when she is crying, lift her up, using soothing tones, put on the shoulder, and do all sorts of things to make her feel that, yeah, you'll be okay. Same scenario, same boy, 3-year-old playing, daddy say, or even mommy, and he falls down and skins himself. What is going to be the response of the parent? I told you not to play from there, and as they used to tell us, Gamire. Keep quiet, be the man, be the man. So it is a problem that we are dealing with now, that you are having adult men that have not been allowed to even be boys. Of course, the psychologist will tell you that in every adult there is a little child. That child who wants to come out but is not allowed by society, by culture, by upbringing, by experience to show any sign of vulnerability and expressing emotions, especially negative ones, coming to my HR and say, I've had a terrible weekend. My wife and I had a big fight and I'm feeling bad. Matter of fact, I don't even remember in all my working career ever going and asking for a sickness leave. I ended up being sick, and then I can't get up, and still you are struggling to come. So that's a challenge. And so going forward to the question you are saying, how can I identify these kinds of issues? The ladies, somebody has written and said, you're a little bit luckier, and I think I heard Diana say this, that you are able to express these particular emotions even to your fellow women, and yes, even to us the men. But let's be intentional in noticing that the men are wired and trained and brought up differently. And so intuitively, thank God, ladies are very intuitive, you are going to listen to the loud noise men make in their silence. Men are silent and they are crying silently, but it is up to you who is working with them, you who is relating with them, to see that this man is not fine. And I want you to go in deep. God has created us with innate abilities, and ladies are really good at that, to see this man is struggling. He's not just thriving. He has gone through all these stages. You see that from excelling stage, he used to do very well, perform very well. Now he has a challenge. And I think when I heard Deo speak how he comes in by 6 and leaves at 10, I already said I need to have a session with him. Because you already see that these are telltale signs that this man is carrying a lot. I loved what Ruth said. They are carrying the world, but who carries their world? So ladies, be intentional. Bosses, be intentional. When you see that man who is apparently smiling and always happy, don't take it for granted that they are okay, they are doing well. Take a little bit of time. At least get into their space and see, in this workplace, can I allow emotional expression? Can I allow people to be themselves? Can I bring into aspects? If you can't, at least get the professionals who can help you. Usually people are afraid to be vulnerable with the people that are close to them, that they know. And so, but when you bring somebody else who can come, they will be able to help you to say, okay, from these tools that I'm using, men are showing that they are going through this. And then allow men to express themselves. And this is a challenge because men have been conditioned to be the strong ones, to carry everything. But just know that everybody breaks. So I want to suggest that when you see your man changing behavior, Diana talked about this from the behavioral perspective. When you see some changes of behavior, don't wait for them to enter into the crisis mode. Don't wait for them to crash land. Come in and intervene. Create an enabling environment where a man feels safe enough to be vulnerable. And that is very, very important. The ladies have got so much power if they can harness into it. In the sense that if you are the wife or the girlfriend, are you helping his mental health state, or you are exacerbating it, like my friend said? Are you the one who is helping this man to navigate other challenges and you're the fallback strength that he has? Or you are actually the one that breaks the camel's back? So this is one of the things I want to say. Be intentional. And by being intentional, be intentional in knowing that these men are struggling. Don't wait for them to show that they are struggling. Have interventions that help them to deal with challenges. Talk like this. Have this. And men will start opening up. They teach them if they're young. All the mothers, I had Ruth, your mother.
Yes.
You have sons. Teach your sons that in future these are the men that are going to be. What do I want my son to be? Allow them to express their emotions and tell them it is okay for men to cry. It is okay for men to show weakness, because actually vulnerability is not a weakness. So that is what I say. Let's break the silence and help the men. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sam. To shed more light on what he's saying, there is what we call a mental health continuum or a spectrum. How do I see this young man and I know that, you know, his mental health battery is draining? Because, you know, mental health normally shows up as a slow fed. Fed slowly, slowly, slowly. And so, you know, sometimes it comes from joyful connection and it gets to a point of emotional absence. And so this is where on the continuum we talk about 5 phases. The all begins when he's excelling, and very soon he's going to be thriving.
He'll drop down to thriving.
The other day he's going to be surviving, survival mode. And the other day he's struggling. Then he's going to get into a crisis, and that's when the HR is saying, what do I do with him? Seek leave. That's when the wife is getting concerned that, hey, my man thinks that the center is not holding what? Together. It is just like a story of love. You know, love begins from excelling phase. Always texting you before sunrise. Will always create more reasons to call you. Everything this young man sees around, they will always update you. They keep in check. Why? Because love is in air. The relationship is excelling. Very alive, very present. He's very emotionally engaged. But you know, we normally say, let's give it 90 days. It's about 3 months. When it comes to thriving, now, as time passes, now the texts that used to come in, he begins creating reasons. I am busy. You know, my mother called me. I reached home late. There is no that self-drive, that inner drive. The young man is thriving emotionally. Very soon, he's going to tell you that, you know, work pressure is building up. They are sending me up country, deadlines. He's in survival mode. And this man, when he's in survival mode, you know, he's going always to give you that, I am busy, I am busy, I am busy. And she has not yet complained because the man is still showing up. He comes home, he's there. But he's in survival mode. Soon, this man is going to struggle. And that's when ladies begin to complain. The flowers you used to give me. You have forgotten my birthday. All these nice things that he used to do, he can no longer do that because the man is disconnected, is emotionally tired. And then lastly, you're going to have missed calls. He's going to ignore your calls. What is happening? He's disengaged. And so that 5 structured, you know, phase when it comes to mental health continuum, is my man excelling? How do I know when he's struggling? How about when he's in a crisis? If he's struggling, how do I move him to the survival mode? From the survival mode, how do I push him to thriving? And this is what we always do. Now, before I bring in the ladies, Alfred, when do you know that this man is struggling? Then we can go to the last segment.
Thank you. I think the real point when the man is struggling is when it comes withdrawn. And sometimes when they are withdrawn, they may think he's just being silent, but that's the point when the man is struggling. Because when you're always up there, you do whatever is obvious. So reserving it,
Can you support us?
doing everything, but when you get to know that he's struggling, that will grow it. So the
Women
relationship,
support.
as you have said, that's where you pay now, you have the what people call replies, he's not responding. So that should not be like, you no longer love me. Actually, that's what they end up thinking. Instead of wondering why did talking about men being emotional. I almost got her hand and wanted to come in at that point. I want to get that. Yeah, really men are emotional beings, just like everyone. So, but when the part of emotional being is you crying out loud and like, okay, but then they're not allowed to cry. Then at that point of celebrating, the mother emotional being, you celebrate a birthday, you have a baby shower, there's a wedding, there's introduction, but when it is your when the birthday, actually the girlfriend nowadays, they have even a birthday wish list. Even if you don't get seat in box, you sit on the center and you look at how so you get to also celebrate. Then it is your birthday and just a long message, and it ends you are loved, and there's a difference between you are loved and I love you, and like, I mean, your birthday I went all over to do that. But when you get to that, actually even men want to celebrate is when you celebrate that one person's birthday, you can see the happiness. I don't want to mention someone, but I have a colleague who celebrates other people's birthday, and you think he's all up there, which is about like, you know, what can I buy for him? He has everything. But when he celebrates it, that's when you know that. And he's what's the different? That's when you know that actually those want to be celebrated. Then that point of the waking up to the morning messages, you can spend a month waking up messages, sending messages to your lady each morning, morning switchback. And usually, sometimes you have a good response. So for me, I woke up saying good morning, maybe, and then you always go good morning to you. That is too cold. Me, I took the time to hide the other thing. But when you are like morning to you, but then you just leave it to that. Then before you know it, you're doing. Then you woke up and you're really not in the mood of not talking to anyone. That's the point of your withdrawal. But then you also now keep quiet, and then you start setting who texts first. To be honest, like, hey, somehow if I don't text first, you won't text me first. And that's how it was done, because you are as if you are in a struggle, who texts the other one first. So because you're used to waking up my messages, the 2 days you don't see them, you don't understand why I didn't text, you just say, I think now it's load. So just be there still waiting for me to instead of what is not how are you? Like we normalize, let me say, people things in there. So I think the interest of time, those would be my take. But that's the point of when also have to be celebrated. Those so-called sweet nothing, also work with them. That's why when you're having for men and they serve a chick and at home is always the point of that there's no this, there's no this. And then you wonder why he's going maybe to say, because he says, sweetheart, how are you? And because of those sweet nothings, they end up going where is a baby, is a sweetheart, and then comes back home to you, but you don't have so, you don't have this, you don't have this. But that's the point of the emotional being that actually men are also emotional. Those sweet nothings, those I love you, just normal, not, I have my point of view.
Yep. Yeah, thanks for that reflection. As we come to the close, the ladies need to tell us now, when it comes to the role of women and support systems, should women become spectators in the gallery where men are struggling with mental health? What is it that women can do to be able to support our men from struggling to thriving, even to excelling? That is the desired. So I'll give you 2 minutes to each, and then I can ask some questions from the online audience, or they can also make some comments. So let me begin with Ruth. What can we do as women to be able to support our men to remain emotionally grounded?
Okay, thank you so much, our viewers and listeners. So, women, we are emotional anchors, whether consciously or unconsciously. As much as we think the man is in charge of creating that emotional space, we are also in charge. And if a mother is happy at home, the children are happy, the workers are happy, the home is thriving. Unless this man is really on another mental level, there's no way he'll come to a happy home and end up continuing being, in that stuck-up space. So if we can keep holding the fabric of society in that way, as creating the emotional safety nets, I think we'll be able to notice when something is off. We can offer them the language, the permission to just be, to relieve their stress, their fear, and also notice when they are burning out. And also women, we can help carry the load. The man was not created to carry the load alone. We've been called to be helpers. And that's a very noble role. So I'm calling upon the women in society, whether you're in the workplace, at home. This is not another call, to forget about yourself, but it's to help the men. Take turns. Doesn't mean that the man always even has to pay that bill. You can surprise him and say, this is taken care of, my love. Let's take some of that burden and pressure off the men. And hopefully, if it's not even a financial burden, because some of them, we imagine it's only financial burdens, there's relationship burden, try to identify what those specific issues they are going through. And please also, when the men are quiet, it should not be mistaken as peace. But we need to have built such a deep relationship with the men. Because sometimes as women, we are very sold out to the children, especially those who have, who are mothers. I've caught myself in there where the priority is the child, the child, the child. And your firstborn, who was the man, in quote unquote, is soon forgotten and the children take priority. Yes, we do understand women. It's very difficult. It's also quite heavy on you. But if we're going to get to the other side, we'd rather get there safely together as a family, not divided. And for the men, I would like to encourage them to begin with truth. Real strength is not in silence, but in the courage to say that I am not okay. But it starts with them feeling, they're safe. And maybe also we can redesign the way men are showing up in form of their identity. For a long time, the identity of men was tied to provision. I think men were going to have to do better beyond provision. Because if the woman, for instance, has, provided, and she can provide for herself, the men are being left, what's my role in here? The children seem happy, the woman has taken care of her bills, she does not need me anymore. So I think men, we're going to have to redefine our role in our homes. Let's see what else we can do beyond throwing money at everything. Because we've seen children growing up, and they even leave the home together with the mother off there to some state somewhere, because you worked so hard, paid for children to go to abroad, and now your wife has also gone with the children, and there you are, back to the start. So let's together keep having these conversations, and let's be our brother's keeper. And for the man who's struggling right now, I hope you can heal, not just for yourself, but for every other man, both old or young, who's looking up to you and wondering, is it safe to come out of that box? So I hope we'll have many more of these conversations. We may not nail this mental health topic in just one conversation. But the women supporting the men, keep going at it, don't give up. The battle is not yet, it's not the end of the battle. We're in this together. Thank you so much.
Beautiful. Yes, Diana, your insights about what women can do to support our men's mental health.
Thank you. My sister Ruth, for the point where you did so well about the men identifying who they are beyond societal expectations, and that is really why you were put on earth, not just by what culture norms have defined you to be. And that builds a lot of confidence in you, which helps you beat mental health challenges when they come, or when things do not come or go the way you expect them. Over the last decade, I have had an opportunity to prepare couples who are going to get married under our church, and we take them through a 3-month program. And right now, my husband and I are spearheading 45 accountability groups with over 300 couples. And I have noticed really stereotypes with women. And we have read books and heard, that the number one need for a man is sex. And I I can provide enough data.
Need to redefine.
But even the sample, yeah. But we are saying that every man is uniquely designed. Every man has different needs and they have different triggers when it comes to mental health. So as a woman, most of us, what I have observed is that yes, we are naturals, like my sister has just mentioned, but we are not good listeners. We are not providing a listening space. Well, we are not listening not to judge, but to listen to understand how best we can support these men. So asking questions like, how can I support you? How can I be of help to you this week? Something I have had to learn intentionally by asking my husband, because we are totally differently wired. How can I support you? And sometimes you realize all you need is to allow him watch his soccer, and he raises the legs, leaves the socks in the chairs, and it's okay. That gives him peace. That is your man, that is your package. So, understand the uniqueness of each individual, and that spreads even to the way we are parenting these boys. Very, very different. Also, being very intentional at learning the emotional language of each of these men. Learning the emotional language. Not having this one-size-fits-it-all solution to the men. Really, it helps so much. So let's be very intentional. Most of the talks we hear around town will give you generalized approaches, but this evening we are saying let's talk general application and ask questions that will help us identify the uniqueness of each of these individuals. Lastly, I will say this as a Christian that pray. I know that prayer moves mountains. Yes. I know that there is where things are not, we are not in control of certain things as human beings. But I believe in divine power who has designed this man, and he can redesign, whatever it is that this man is struggling with. So something that I cannot give, if I cannot try to understand, I will take him back to the one who created him to handle. And I know that most women are doing this, but let's also pray without judgment. So thank you so much, and that can be my input for the ladies.
Thank you, ladies, and thank you, gentlemen. The insights that we have shared here, they might be the lifeline that can help someone out there. Because, in mental health space, we always say, it is always there for those who say, this is my mental health. And that's why we call it my mental health, not any other person's mental health. And so we want to thank you so much. I don't know whether we have some comments just online there, or some, the comment section. Maybe we can help me. We can read a few comments from there. So let me give only 1 minute to each of us just to make our last remark. Just 1 minute. Let me begin with Sam.
Thank you very much. Men, I would like to suggest that you take stock of yourself. Men are very logical, and we usually apply a lot of rationality in the absence of emotional aspects. Be rational enough. Look at this as a challenge that needs to be conquered. And so just prioritize yourself. Some scripture says, love your neighbors, you love yourself, which seemingly gives me an impression that you must love yourself first if you are to know how to love your neighbor. Men, take time to understand what triggers you. Take time to understand what is your personality profile. How does that affect your ability to express yourself? How do you handle challenges? What about your family, the family background you came from? How were they handling issues and challenges? Do you have underlying mental health issues in your family? If you do, just like we tell people that when you reach 40s and above, take time to go for tests to prove that you don't have prostate. It's not coming up. Take time to know that you're not getting breast cancer. So men, it is okay for you to be vulnerable. It is okay to seek help. Seek help from the professionals, and that way you will be helped instead of sitting down and hit the crisis mode. God bless you.
All right, Ruth, your last remark, parting shot.
All right, mine, I'll end it with that question. It will be, how might we help position men in their rightful place in society? They cannot do it by themselves. It takes all of us as part of society to be able to do that. So right from the clergy in church, from the workplaces, to the homes, to anywhere society needs men's position to be reestablished. Let's work together, and we can beat this giant on the table, one conversation at a time. God help us.
Wow.
Thank you.
Beautiful. It takes a community. Yes, Diana.
Thank you. I will end by this, requesting the men or encouraging them to ask why and to be very curious about why they behave the way they behave, why they learn the way they learn, why they think the way they think. What some say self-awareness. It gives you strength and it gives you an edge as a man. And give us, I end as a coach, I'll give you a reflection question, maybe to all of us as well. Let's stop asking why aren't the men showing up. Let's ask ourselves whether we are creating spaces for them to open up in their own language.
All right, Alfred, thank you.
Thank you. I think my last advice to many to understand your personality.
You can.
What works for you and what doesn't work for you. So once you understand that, what doesn't work for you, please don't tolerate it, don't compromise on it. Then you understand that you also can be emotional. There's no problem with being emotional, there's no problem with being crying, there's no problem with wanting to be loved. You're only human, and then maybe we should love ourselves more, since the people we are trying to love don't seem to appreciate. Yes, we should love ourselves more. You buy yourself those gifts instead of buying them and doesn't appreciate. You eat your command instead of sending it, and he says, I didn't receive, oh, is that also money? It's not being selfish, it's not even being stingy on your money, it's now loving yourself a bit. That's my advice.
Yeah, thank you so much, our great panelists. We shall have a few comments from Deo, and then we'll be winding down.
Thank you so much. A few quick comments and my own. I'll start with Kigeji Douglas. Thank you so much. Men's mental health is indeed a priority. We must continue pushing the agenda, and it has evolved over the years. Herbert Mugisha, thank you too. You say that it will take years for men to be heard and understood. That is your opinion. Here is mine. We are not going to have a men's emancipation campaign. No one is going to do that for us. We must free ourselves. Do we listen, before we talk about women, do we listen to fellow men? Men also need to listen to each other. To the ladies, a relationship is not a competition. Do not shove down your opinion down my throat. Get our perspectives, let us listen deep. This will help enhance our relationships. I'm a Christian, but don't leave everything to God. We need to work together. Thank you so much, Wellbeing Consultant, Kari Kuntina. Our viewers have been lovely. Thank you.
Thank you. Wow. Thank you so much. As we said, this has been a heart-level conversation. What are you doing about your mental health? And what fierce urgency do you have when it comes to what you're doing about your mental health? And what are you willing to sacrifice or to let go for the sake of your mental health? I will end with a quote from Minister of Healing, Ellen G. White. She says that the Savior mingled with them was very intentional. He did not distance himself from the people, from the suffering, from those who are struggling. He mingled with them. He showed them sympathy. Are you sympathetic? Are you intentional about the mental health of your son, of your friend, of your boss, of that person that you work with, of your colleague? And through doing that, he ministered to their needs. What are the emotional needs are we having in our communities? And lastly, he won their confidence. Do you know you can still win the confidence of your boss? Because when we take care of people's emotional well-being, they never forget us. We can forget so many things that people can do for us in this life, but how the person made you feel, it is unforgettable. And so let's go out there. We can learn how to win people, how to influence people, and mental health is a special purpose vehicle that can make you different out there. God bless, and thank you so much for being online.